The scientific world is mourning the loss of one of its most influential and controversial figures. James Dwey Watson, the co-discoverer of the DNA double helix, has passed away at the age of 97 in East Northport, New York. His death marks the end of an era in molecular biology, the departure of a man whose discoveries reshaped modern science, yet whose outspoken nature often divided opinion. Watson's life was one of brilliance and contradiction, a profound discovery and human imperfection. From the laboratories of Cambridge to the presidency of Cold Spring Harbor, his name became forever tied to the structure of life itself, the molecule that defines who we are. James Dwey Watson was born on April 6, 1928 in Chicago, Illinois. The only son of Jean Mitchell and James D. Watson, he grew up on the city's south side with an early fascination for the natural world. A curious child with a love for bird watching, Watson's keen mind set him apart even at a young age. By 11, his sharp intellect earned him a spot on the famous quiz show Quiz Kids, where his knowledge stunned audiences. At 15, he entered the University of Chicago under a special scholarship, guided by an unshakable hunger for truth. Initially drawn to ornithology, his academic direction changed forever after reading Erwin Schrödinger's What is Life?, a book that inspired him to explore the mysteries of genetics. He earned his Bachelor of Science in Zoology in 1947 and completed his Ph.D. at Indiana University in 1950 under Salvador Luria, a future Nobel laureate who introduced him to the revolutionary world of bacteriophages. After a year of postdoctoral research in Copenhagen, Watson joined the Cavendish Laboratory at Cambridge University in England, a decision that would lead to one of the most significant scientific discoveries of the 20th century. It was at Cambridge that James Watson met Francis Crick, and together, their partnership changed the course of biology. In 1953, using X-ray diffraction data from Rosalind Franklin and Maurice Wilkins, Watson and Crick deduced the double helix structure of DNA, the molecule that carries genetic information in every living organism. Their paper, A Structure for Deoxyribose Nucleic Acid, published in Nature in April 1953, became one of the most celebrated scientific achievements in history. Less than a decade later, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins were jointly awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1962. From 1956 to 1976, Watson served on the faculty at Harvard University, where he guided a new generation of molecular biologists and wrote The Molecular Biology of the Gene, a textbook that defined an era of genetics education. In 1968, Watson became director of Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Under his leadership, the institution transformed into a world-class center for molecular genetics and cancer research. He later served as its president and chancellor, dedicating decades to shaping biological research and education. Watson also played a key role in the early development of the Human Genome Project during his tenure at the National Institutes of Health, helping to lay the groundwork for mapping the human genome, one of the defining scientific achievements of the new millennium. Yet his later years were marked by controversy. Public remarks on genetics, intelligence, and race drew widespread condemnation and led to his resignation from Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory in 2007. Despite this, his contributions to molecular biology remained foundational to modern genetics. James Watson was as complex as the molecule he helped uncover, known for his sharp wit, bold opinions, and relentless pursuit of truth. He was a man who demanded excellence from himself and others. He was an atheist who often spoke of his belief in science over faith, describing his father's skepticism as one of the most formative influences on his life. Away from the laboratory, Watson had a deep appreciation for nature and conservation. In later years, he became involved in philanthropic work, contributing to scientific research and environmental causes. Despite controversies, those close to him often described him as deeply curious, passionate about knowledge, and unwaveringly dedicated to understanding life's code. In his final weeks, James Watson was hospitalized following complications from an infection. After being transferred to hospice care, he passed away peacefully on November 6, 2025, surrounded by family. His death was confirmed by representatives from Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Though his final years were shadowed by controversy, many in the scientific community chose to remember. His legacy through his discovery, the double helix, which forever altered the study of life. Watson married Elizabeth Lewis in 1968, and together they shared more than 5 decades of companionship. The couple had 2 sons, Rufus, Robert, and Duncan James. Rufus, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, inspired his father's interest in the genetics of mental illness. Watson often spoke candidly about his son's condition, expressing his hope that one day science would uncover new ways to understand and treat disorders of the mind. Elizabeth, his lifelong partner, stood beside him through every triumph and every trial, from the Nobel Prize ceremony to the storms of public scrutiny. At the time of his passing, James Watson's estimated net worth was around $15 million. Over his long career, his earnings came from academic appointments, royalties from his best-selling books such as The Double Helix, and decades of service at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. In 2014, he made headlines for auctioning his Nobel Prize medal to fund scientific and conservation efforts, a gesture that reflected his belief in giving back to the pursuit that defined his life. Few names in science evoke as much recognition or debate as James Dwey Watson. His discovery of the double helix remains one of the cornerstones of modern biology, shaping fields as diverse as medicine, genetics, and biotechnology. The structure he helped reveal became the foundation for understanding heredity, genetic diseases, and evolution itself. Every genome sequenced, every DNA test performed, and every advancement in personalized medicine owes something to that moment in 1953. Watson's life also serves as a reflection of the dual nature of genius, capable of extraordinary insight, yet deeply human in its flaws. His later controversies sparked conversations about ethics, responsibility, and the intersection of science with society. Even as critics acknowledged that Watson's vision and drive helped push molecular biology into the modern age. He leaves behind a vast scientific legacy: textbooks, institutions, and discoveries that continue to guide students and researchers across the globe. As the world bids farewell to James Dwey Watson, the story of DNA, the blueprint of life, stands as his eternal monument. His work transformed our understanding of existence, revealing the beautiful, spiraling code that connects all living things. Though his words and actions at times divided, his discovery united humanity under a single truth: within every cell lies the story of life itself. In laboratories, classrooms, and in the hearts of young scientists everywhere, the memory of James Watson endures, a reminder that the search for knowledge is as complex, wondrous, and imperfect as the people who pursue it.